Welcome back, everyone. This week we released the third installment in the Sony Venom franchise, Venom The Last Dance. Now, I've already seen some of the latest early reactions to the box office tracking numbers and even some of the industry mainstream reviews that are not all that favorable for the film. But as far as the ticket sales, my theater was sold out on a Thursday for an early premiere. Maybe it's just the United States that's not interested in another Venom film. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But as far as the negative reviews are concerned, it's not a terrible film. It's not a fantastic blow you out of the theater comic book film either, but it's entertaining. It has serious flaws that has the film getting in its own way, but still I felt entertained. Now, it's not great, like I said. It's not terrible. It's average. It's an average film. Now, this is going to be a spoiler-free review with the exception of a couple of tidbits that I'll warn you about, but nothing that'll ruin the entire film if you decide to listen. Now, personally, right off the bat, like I said, I did enjoy about 75% of this film. It was a Venom film. It's what I expected it would be. Tom Hardy has that role down to what he wants it to be, how he wants to play it. He has the voice of Venom and the comedic tone down to what he wants that to be and how he wants to play that. And we all get that. That's why we're there. For the most part, this film is a buddy action comedy road trip kind of movie with a few twists on that genre. When Venom and Hardy are on screen, yeah, it's fun. A little over the top sometimes and a little too much of certain gags that run their course. Like the whole only Eddie can hear Venom so he looks crazy sometimes in front of other people. Or the whole Venom jumping from one host to another just to see how many different animals they can get on screen that look like Venom, infected with the symbiote. But I kind of expected that with this film. It is, after all, supposed to be the last Tom Hardy Venom film. I guess you could take that with a grain of salt too, depending on the box office numbers. And sure, Venom has given some new things to make us laugh, and I did laugh. I mean, admit that. There were plenty of times when I laughed when Venom did something or Eddie did something or Venom and Eddie were interacting with somebody else. I did laugh. I did have a few chuckles. It felt good. Especially when Venom is put into the spectacle of like Las Vegas, somewhere he's never been before. And when we meet the Moon family headed by Rhys and Ifrans, yeah, there's a Venom sing-along. It goes on for a little bit too long, but still can't be really mad with a Venom sing-along with a campfire song, right? But again, when Tom Hardy is carrying the film, he's giving us what we paid to see, the Eddie and Venom show. So I can't be mad at him for that. I can't fault the film for that. It's what I paid for. It's what I got. Now, the plot of the film, what I can speak of, because a lot of it's already out there, is that a race of creatures are hunting Venom and the rest of the symbiotes that are on Earth, a few of which that are in government hands. If Eddie and Venom cannot survive this onslaught of creatures hunting them, then the world may very well end. Kind of in a nutshell, that's the plot. But they are also being hunted by the US government, so it's a no-win situation that culminates in a final battle that was good, but missing something, and I'll get to that in a minute. The rest of the cast, and I hope I pronounced this gentleman's name right, Chiwetel Ejiofor, was fine in his role. Not much to it. He's a military commander out to blow things up as the best solution to the problems that present themselves. Mrs. Chen makes an appearance, and it's done for the audience. It's done for us because she was in the last couple of films, and it has no bearing on the story whatsoever. It's just shoehorned in there. It's fine. It has moments of funniness, and it gets a little weird. I have to admit that. You get the sense that maybe Mrs. Chen and Venom might have a thing for each other, but again, whatever. I'm going to leave that one alone. Juno Temple as Dr. Payne. Well, here's the one that's kind of annoying. Just listening to her talk, the way she talked, just not a fan of when she was on screen. In fact, you could have taken her part out and given some of her plot points to Ejiofor and things would have been fine. You do get a little bit of a backstory for her, but again, if there was something I would have cut, definitely her or some of the extended time with the Moon family. And the Moon family is just this hippie family that Venom and Eddie run into, and they do take up a lot of the plot and a lot of the film. Some of it's funny, some of it just kind of goes on, but it's there. It's not, like I said, it's not terrible. It's not fantastic either. The plot itself, the narrative that is, well, it's a little all over the place. The film struggles to find a lane to stay in. I'll have to say that. The cuts between environments and the cuts between, scenes with Eddie and Venom and then back to the military base, they're more jarring than anything else. I guess that's it. The movie has a poor flow to it. Not pacing, just flow. Pacing issues in the beginning, that's for sure, but it's just the way it flows, the way it's cut, the way it doesn't lend itself any favors. And a lot of this happens in the beginning, like I said, where there's so much exposition and explanation as to what is going on or what's going to go on or what has already happened. Look, I'm a comic book guy. I got it right away. I didn't need much pre-work for this film. But if you're not a comic book fan, you may have trouble figuring out what is what and why things are happening. And then you're just going to resign yourself to saying, oh, those are bad guys, those are good guys, fight it out and done. And the whole comic book extended universe thing is just something you ignore and just don't care about in the end. And when you do need explanation of things to understand how things work or how they got that way, when it would really help out the film and the narrative or the audience, you don't get any. So it's sort of like they choose to explain things that really shouldn't need to be explained if the narrative was done correctly or put together or flowed correctly. And they choose not to explain things that are just kind of new to us as an audience or as a general audience, and you get kind of lost. So again, the flow, that sort of narrative cohesion, that's what's missing from this film, and it really does hurt it. In the end, that's the biggest thing that hurts this film. And yes, you have had to have seen Venom 2 to understand some of this film. They try to explain it with news clips, but again, if you've not seen Venom 2, you might wonder what is going on in the beginning. And if you get lost in the beginning, it's real hard to kind of get back into the film. That again, the beginning of the film was a little messy. Basically, the sciencey parts and the whole bad guy at the center of everything was poorly set up in the beginning, which is why I said audiences want Eddie and Venom, and those parts deliver, so the film's entertaining. You can forgive a lot of that other stuff. Here's a spoiler warning for the next couple of items because the larger conversation around what comes next requires us to talk about these things. Venom The Last Dance is supposed to be the last Venom film. Okay, I can live with that. But the big bad guy in the film, who is on screen for about 5 minutes and never actually does anything. He never actually shows up at the end to fight. He's literally there and you never really see his face until the post-credit scene. His name is Null. Apparently in Swedish that means to fuck. Anyways, Null is being set up for future films as a Thanos-type character, but he's really not a Thanos-type character. I'm not sure what Sony is thinking. Null is not a well-known villain outside of comic book enthusiasts. He has connections to Thor, the Necrosword, the Celestials, all that mystical cosmos stuff Marvel already tried and failed at. So again, not sure what Sony is thinking. I mean, I love the enthusiasm. Really, the advice is just give people what they want. Venom and Spider-Man on the screen together. After that, who cares what you do? It'll probably still make money. The other thing that we need to talk about underneath the spoiler banner is that it looks like Juno Temple's Dr. Payne is being set up as a new symbiote hero because she becomes Agony, a purple female version of Venom, only with flashlight speed added on. Again, not sure what Sony is thinking. Any movie about a symbiote in the comic book world better be about Venom, otherwise no one's really going to see it. Venom was a hard sell back in 2019, whether the film did well or not. It was a hard sell, and I remember it being a hard sell. Agony is an impossible sell. No one's going to see a movie about Agony, because if you think people had trouble recognizing Venom and kind of going, oh, isn't that Spider-Man, and getting confused, they're not going to know who the hell Agony is. Again, not sure what Sony's thinking, but back to the review. Look, I had fun watching the film for the most part. It was not a terrible film. It was not a great film. It was average, mid. It's a nice wrap-up and end to the story of Eddie Brock and Venom. And if Sony is smart, they would keep it that way with, again, just that one caveat, Peter Parker and Eddie Brock together on screen. After all, spoiler warning here too, so cover your ears if you don't want to hear this. Eddie did end up in Queens at the end of this film. It's right there, Sony. All that cash. You just got to reach out and grab it. Okay, spoiler warning over. So I know it's the spooky season and people want scary movies, or they're watching a lot of scary movies out there in the theaters. But if you've been scared enough and want something to pass a couple of hours in the form of mildly good entertainment, then Venom 3 can do it for you. It's not a must-see at the theaters, but it's not a must-miss either. Like I said, it's just somewhere down the middle. And that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you plan on seeing Venom The Last Dance? Or you just don't care about the character at this point? And if you want more movie reviews and pop culture fun, click on the thumbnails at the end of my video for my retro movie review playlist and my general movie review playlist. As always, I thank you for watching. I'm still your reluctant gringo from south of the border. Salud and a huevo.